Welcome to Rebuilt You Show. I have an amazing guest here today that's going to be doing over 7 million in revenue in his business. So this is somebody you want to listen to. And there is a process of how he's gotten to where he is today. So I'm really excited about sharing with Jonathan, hear his story. Get ready to take some notes because this is going to take you, your family, your personal life, your business to the next level. Thanks for coming on to the show, man.
Thank you for having me.
Tell me who you are, what you do, and just get a little background of yourself.
So my name is Jonathan Rodriguez. I was born and raised in Boyle Heights. I was taken back to Mexico, and then I came back to LA, and I went to middle school here.
How old were you when you came here?
I came back when I was about 8, 9. Okay. It was when it was the rainy season back in the days when it used to rain.
And you remember rainy season? Why do you remember that?
I remember that because when I came back, I remember on Cesar Chavez, this is back in Boyle Heights, there was this lonchera and we were getting wet. We didn't have an umbrella. So that's why I remember the rain. We went to get some tortas and we bought a torta for all four. It was me, my mom, and my sister.
Shared?
So shared torta, yeah, in 4 pieces. And then we went to look for the address for my grandma's house.
What was that? Do you remember, like, besides that, do you remember what you were feeling like? Like, when you're over there, your parents were saying, okay, we're going to move. What did you start thinking and feeling about that right there?
I did remember that I had 2 friends. It was Pepe and Güero back in León, Guanajuato. And I was just remembering that I was going to miss them, but not really. I didn't know what direction we were going. I was 8. It was raining, so I'm like, okay, so what's next?
What did your parents tell you?
They said that we were going to move to a better place, and we moved to my grandma's house. It was like on Boyle Heights.
So she was already over here. Okay.
Yeah.
And then how did it go from there? So you started going to school, and what was that transition like? Because you didn't speak any English, did you? Or did you already have English?
No, I did not. I didn't speak any English, so they signed me up to the nearest school. It was called Belvedere Middle School in East LA. And they signed me up for what is it called?
ESL?
ESL classes. So I was there for, I think I learned pretty quickly in the first couple years. And I went to Belvedere Middle School, and then Belvedere, it was Belvedere Elementary and Belvedere Middle School.
Was there a lot of others that were in the same kind of place as you, or do you feel like you were different? Did people bully you? How was that transition going into a new school?
That's a good question. Nobody asked me that before. But yeah, so basically, when I was in elementary school, usually there's different crowds. So there's the crowds that are like the popular crowds, and then there's the people that are not so popular, and then there's these people that, not that nobody likes, but they don't speak the language. The ESL students, they sit on a different table, and those are the people that don't have the supplies and things like that. So yeah, it was a little bit different. I had my own little crowd for the first year, and then I saw like other people having better stuff and things like that. So just always looking into doing better things and being better. Yeah.
Did you play any sports in school growing up?
I did. I love playing sports, and that was one of the things I really liked doing in school. I used to play soccer and basketball. So basically, people that are born here, I think they get the privilege to do all sports, not like other people in other countries. Sure. They either play whatever, like soccer or their national sports. But here, you get to play everything.
So you're basketball and soccer. Which one's your favorite?
Basketball and soccer.
Those are the 2 main ones.
Yeah.
What was your position?
I used to play middle.
Did you play for a long time, or was it just in elementary school, or did you continue?
Well, I played for many years, but it was not professionally. It was just like with friends in the park. We used to go, my family, obviously they're not rich or anything, but they love spending time together. We used to go to the park every weekend, and every weekend we used to play soccer. Not professionally, but like with my brothers, cousins, friends. Yeah.
That's cool, man. So you feel like you're a competitive person?
I'm very competitive.
Did it come from that, or did you already have it in you? And if you did, was it part of your father, your mother? Like, where did that come from? Because I know you, so I know that he's competitive, right? So I'm just asking these questions for you. But where does that come from? That competitiveness?
I am very competitive, and that comes, I think, from my dad. My dad is super competitive, and when I was young, he always used to tell me stories about how competitive he was. He said so many stories. One story, real quick.
Yeah.
He was like riding the really old bike, and he used to play races, and he used to carry my older brother on the back, and he used to play against 20 other people, and then he was like the last one, but he never stopped. He always had that momentum going, and then by it was long races, so it was like 20-hour race
bicycle.
on the bicycle.
And he was the only one that would carry someone on the back.
So basically, just imagine like a guy with an old bike, and then my brother on his back. He was like 12, and he's racing against other people with professional bikes for like 20 hours. And then at the end of the race, he'll win.
Because he just didn't stop.
He didn't stop. So he was always competitive.
Why would he take his brother on there?
Well, I don't know. I mean, he's like, I'm still going to win with my son.
So it was more to like,
Yeah.
to up one, like to push them, basically to make them look worse.
I guess.
Like, look, I'm gonna beat you, and not only I'm gonna beat you, I'm gonna beat you on my old bike, and I'm gonna beat you with my brother on the back.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
how competitive he is.
Yeah. So that was my brother. It was his son. But yeah, he used to do that, and he used to swim, run. Like he used to be very active. Very active.
And you saw that, or he would share that with you?
Well, I saw when he was like swimming, he used to go off running, things like that. But not the stories. But obviously, I think I got it from him.
You saw he was always active.
Yeah.
And was your mom active and competitive too in her way? Not that she had to play sports, but did she have
My mom was the total opposite. She was the lovely one. She used to take care of us in every like way. But I think it runs in the family because my family is very competitive. I think everybody's smart in some type of way. Like my older brother, like he's a musician. He knows how to play all the instruments. My older brother, my other brother, like the second, he's also a musician. And then my sister, she's a CPA. She worked for the company. She's also really smart. And then my brother, he has a master's on.
There's 4 other ones?
I have 7.
7 total.
7. We're 8 total.
8 total. And
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. So, but they all super smart. Like my sister, she has a CPA, and then my brother, he has a master's on mathematics, and a master's on business administration, and he works for me. He's super smart. So I think it runs in the family. Maybe we're not perfect, but
Hey,
like
parents did a good job, man.
yeah. So everybody's in a different area.
Sure.
But we're always competitive.
Good
Yeah.
stuff. Now, okay, so now you're in elementary. You're sitting with these kids with the ESL, you know, because you didn't fit in right away, but you
Yeah.
started to make friends. I'm sure sports helped with that a lot.
Yeah.
And tell me a little bit more on that. How you start getting older into junior high. How was that for you?
So junior high, when I started on junior high, you know, it's a little bit different because when you're in elementary, like almost nobody cares about like what you wear or they're not looking about the fancy stuff.
True.
But in middle school, it was
That's
a
where
little.
freaking kids get brutal. They're going
I
through
know, I know.
puberty, and now they start picking on stupid stuff.
They start picking on people, but yeah, I was one of the ones who get poked on. I used to get bullied a lot. I mean, I know everybody goes through some type of bullying. Nobody wants to speak up and be like, "Oh, this and that," because they're afraid.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, middle school was rough, and I did get bullied a bunch of times.
And for what though? What would they
Like
say?
just for many things. Like I have a few clothes, and for my shirt, I used to get dirty here and there, and oh, look at the dirty boy, or things like that, or
Because you were dirty because that shirt was used so much and it was dirty, or because you were playing and it was dirty? Like, what was wrong with your shirt?
it was because you know when you go to lunch or recess, and then there's like ketchup falls on your shirt or whatever, so things like that. And since
So
I
you were
didn't
just
have,
a messy eater.
yeah, well, not messy.
Like, go to get ketchup, and
I was not a messy eater, but I mean accidents happen. But yeah.
but you just had that shirt or a few shirts, so there would be stains and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So people would start to notice that. What would they say?
I mean, just they used to call me like the dirty boy when I was younger. I mean, I don't really care now, but yeah, I mean, they used to call me like that. And when I was waiting like on the bus stop and stuff, my mom used to like drive an old van. I wouldn't want to get on the van because they'll bully me as well. So things like that, or like when you were
What
on
would you do? So, I mean, your mom would come pick you up.
yeah.
So you would.
I would just hide behind the electrical box in front of the liquor store. Just hide behind it, and then just wait for her to pass. And then I had to like go walk into the house, or I mean things like that. Yeah,
to avoid more bullying.
yeah.
Did it happen for you to say, well, I'm not going to let that happen again? Like, did they already see the van once or something? Or were you just thinking, I'm just going to prevent it?
I was just thinking, I think a few friends, when they dropped me off in the mornings, they saw it, so they started bullying me. So I think that triggered my head to like think about I was going to get bullied. But I think if it was now, I wouldn't even care.
Well,
I'm like, fuck it. I mean, she has a van.
Sure.
She's driving, hardworking.
Yeah, but at that point, you don't have all the strength and knowledge that you have now. You're just trying to figure things out. You want to be accepted. It's a new school. You want friends. And, if they're going to pick on something, you're going to avoid that.
Yeah.
So then from there, was your dad around that time too, or was he more working?
My dad was always playing music. He's a musician.
So that's where your other brothers got it from.
Yeah, he's been playing for 40 years. He's always been working.
Did they play?
Friday, Saturday,
could have had like a freaking family band.
I know.
Did they ever play in a band?
They do that for a living.
Oh, they do now?
Yeah, they still do it. My dad, he's 75. He's still a musician. And he doesn't need the money, but I guess that's his hobby.
His passion.
Yeah, he likes to stay active.
And they're in a band together? Or do they do separate things?
So they like my dad and my older brother, they play together sometimes. They used to be in a band all together, but then my brother separated to another band, to a bigger band. And then my other brother separated. Not really, because they still play together on the parties or things like that.
Okay.
Family reunion.
Did anybody like get, really serious with it, where like they became big, or like that's what they do every weekend, like to go and do gigs?
They didn't become really big, but they do play every weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. They do that for a living.
That's their thing, yeah.
That's their thing, yeah. They're pretty good, but they're not famous.
What are they called?
Los Látigos del Norte, and then they changed their name again, and then now they're playing with different groups. But yeah.
Do you go watch them play sometimes, or what?
Not really. I did before, but
do you like that music?
I do like it. I also play the accordion here and there.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You could play that too. That's freaking hard to play.
Yeah, but I guess I didn't watch them because for me it's normal. And it was like more like on a daily basis, I used to listen to the instruments and things like that, but yeah.
So you can still jam out on the
Yeah. Where's the accordion?
Can you bring out the accordion, please? I actually have one in my office.
Oh, you do?
No,
Okay.
I'm just kidding. Imagine. My aunt actually plays the accordion too, so I understand. It's not easy.
Yeah.
Because you're doing a lot of different things. You have to keep giving it air, and you're playing the keys on it. It's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons my brother, Fabian, so he's an estimator for the company right now. And he's an accordionist. And he also plays the guitar, the drums, like all these instruments. And when he started working with the company, he was a super fast learner. He went from like the bottom to like an estimator in less than 2 years. And that's also
How long
because,
does it normally take?
I don't know, like 5, 6, 7 years, I would say.
Wow.
Yeah, in average.
Impressive.
Yeah.
So how many, you have total of 8. How many are working with you in your company now?
So we have Fabian, then we have my sister, Xochitl, and then we have Gerson, the smart guy, nerd. Yeah, so we have 3.
So I want to get into your business part, but I want to get some more context.
Yeah.
So now we're into the junior high, you're into high school now. What was high school like for you?
What was high school? Well, I just went to high school for a couple months and then I dropped out.
In your freshman year?
It was my freshman year, yeah.
So you went literally 2 months?
Yeah.
3 months? Why did you drop out?
Because I didn't have any resources. I didn't have any money. So I just decided to quit. I decided to quit.
But were you not able, like your family not able to pay the bills, so you had to? Or was it something more of a personal thing that you wanted to buy your own stuff? Like why would you drop out?
It was more of a personal thing because I didn't have any money like to buy stuff like lunch. And when you're in high school, like everybody dressed nicely and they have more money, more resources. I didn't have that. So I just started working and I started working with a friend.
What about that bothered you so much too? Because dropping out, that's a big risk or a big step, right, to commit to. And I don't think a bunch of people around you were dropping out unless they were. Was there a lot of friends that were dropping out too?
No.
So it was just you. So you didn't have influence. It was just a decision you made, right?
Yeah.
So what would get you to that point where you would be willing to be like, well, I know you're supposed to go to school and graduate and then go to college and then like that's what like people train you with, right? So what got you so convicted to where you're like, I'm gonna just freaking go work now?
Well, there was a few reasons. Basically, at that time, in my family, there was no one that graduated. So there was no like role model. Okay, you're gonna be like this guy.
Okay.
Or you know what, you're gonna be like your older brother. Like right now, our nephews, brothers, everybody has a bachelor's, master's. They're going for their doctors. But back in the days, there was no like role model to follow, and there was no money. So it was kind of hard to go to school with no money, and then still kind of getting bullied here and there. So it was easier to work and get more money by working. And I think it felt better, like just emotionally, it felt better to just work instead of just going to school. Yeah.
So what was your first, what did you get into first? What was your first job?
So it's a long story, but like a family friend used to work on the construction, and he got me into painting.
Your first job already started with what you're doing now. It's already connected.
It's already
First
connected.
job.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is with the family member. And what did you do first? What kind of position did they give you? What did they start having you do?
So basically, I was doing prep work, just masking, picking up trash, things like that. I was young, and I remember I used to say I was like 18, but I think I was like 13, 14 years old.
And you would just say you're 18.
Yeah.
So, because you didn't want them to. So they didn't even check any background check or
They
anything?
didn't check anything. It was like those companies that you're working under the table. They're paying you cash. There's a lot of people from Latinos, Central America. And, yeah.
And how was that experience for you?
It was fun, actually. It was fun. I was freed. I didn't have to go through like all this like mental preparedness. I was just free, to be honest. It felt pretty good to be working, making money.
What did they start paying you first? Where did you start at?
I started at $40 a day, about $200 a week.
And how many hours would you work a day?
About 10 hours.
7 days?
I was working 5 days a week, and then I started working 6 days a week, and then 7 days a week.
Nice. And what would you start doing with your money? Like when you start getting that paycheck, because you weren't used to getting money in, right? So now you get that first paycheck. Do you remember that day?
The first day I got the paycheck, it was $200, and I gave half to my mom, and I kept half of the money.
And what did you do with it?
I just, what did I do with it? That's a good question. I think I was saving for a cell phone, because back in the days I wanted to have a cell phone. So.
Well, not a pager? I remember having those beeper pagers.
Yeah, it was one of those, Nextel. I don't know if it's still around. It was those flip phones that had walkie-talkie. It was one of those from Spring. It was really expensive. It was like, I don't know, like $300-400. The bill was like $500. I remember.
Eesh.
Yeah.
But you were paying your own stuff. Now you're working. You're getting your checks. You get your phone. What do you start doing with your money now? Because at this point, you're kind of getting more mature, right? Like you're figuring your stuff out, getting some more money in. Did you have any goals of what to save for, or besides the phone? Did you want to do something else with your money?
I just wanted to buy a car. I wanted to buy things. I wanted to buy clothes. I just wanted to buy stuff because I didn't have anything. Like I was struggling for a folder, school supplies, pencils. So now I didn't want to think about that. I just wanted to have clothes, a car, and things like that.
How did it feel giving that first money to your mom and your dad?
Not so good, but she made me to. Yeah. It was like, but after I gave it to her, I understood that, okay, I need to give some to my mom. And I did, like every check, I used to give her like half of the money until I got married. So that was like the rule in the house.
Okay.
That was the rule. Yeah, when you work, if you're not married, you need to give half to the house. And then when you get married,
then it's
all you and your wife and your family. Yeah.
Okay. So when did that happen? So now you're working.
That happened 13, really fast.
14.
Yeah.
And now when did you meet your wife?
I met her when I was 15, and then I got married.
Oh, wow.
Really fast. That happened really fast, yeah.
So you're working for a couple years, and boom. Where did you meet her?
It's because I wanted to keep my check, so I find someone. Nah, I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, I met her at an event on Broadway. There was an event, I think it's called Fiesta Broadway. So that's where
You're 15 years old, and what kind of event is it?
It's a festival event. It's called Fiesta Broadway.
Okay, and can you picture yourself there right now?
Yeah, I was.
Okay, so you're there. There's music. There's a bunch of people. Like, where did your wife come into the
this
picture?
was
How did you see her?
this was there's the Broadway, and then there's Olympic, and then they closed Broadway like from like First Street all the way to Olympic, and I was standing like here, and then she was standing like very far away, and I saw her, and she saw me. You know that look like
All these people, all of a sudden it shows you too.
first sight.
Everything else blurs out and the music comes on.
You can't see anything. You know, like the iPhone, they blur everything out. Like same thing. Yeah. So I saw her. She saw me, and then she did the look. You know that look. And
did
then
you give her like a nod or something, or what did
I just
how
went
did
like this.
Dang,
Yeah.
you had her with the
Yeah.
And then what happened?
So and then I was walking down that way, and I just got her number, and then we started talking after that. Yeah.
And okay,
like-
so now you're together. You're 15 years old. Right?
Yeah, so
You're-
basically I got her phone number, I invited her out for a few times, and then we got married. We went to Vegas, we got married when I was like 15.
what made you do that?
I was just in love, and it
But
felt pretty good.
Why the topic of marriage come up at such a young age, though?
Because, you know when you fall in love, like you don't think about anything else? That was, I was just
And the
thinking
next
about love.
step is getting married.
Yeah.
So that was just the next thing to do. Like, according to how you were brought up, you're like, okay, now we're in a serious relationship. Next step is get married. Why wait? I love her. Jumped on it.
Yeah.
Taking action right away.
I was taking action.
And how
Massive
was
action.
her parents with that, though? She's young too, and I mean,
They
for
were
the-
okay
for
with
the
it.
Girl, usually they're a little bit more protective.
Actually, they were okay with it. My mom wasn't okay with it. But I mean, you got to think about what you're doing. I'm like, yeah, I'm all in. When I go all in, I go all in. I take action. So I took action.
And their family was in it. They liked you, obviously.
Yeah.
Huh. How did you win? How did you win her parents over?
Well, her parents were at Mexico, but I did talk to them.
Ah,
But
okay. Okay. Then she was dealing with like a tia or a tío or what?
I was dealing with,
No,
it was,
your girl.
yeah, the tia.
She was living with
With her
family
aunt.
members.
Yeah.
Okay, so that made it a little bit easier.
Yeah. That was easy on me. Yeah.
And so you went to Vegas. Do you remember that day? Was it scary? How did you feel?
That day, that was,
You're freaking 15 years old getting married.
That was back in February 17. No, we got there on February 15. Yeah, I was 15, and we got married on a small little chapel over there. It was good, yeah.
Were you nervous? Did anybody else go with you? Was it just you two?
It was me, her, my mom, and my dad. Yeah.
Okay. Nobody from her family.
No, it was just us and my dad. They were the witnesses.
Then now you got married. Did you guys stay there? You guys went back home. What did you do after? How did you celebrate?
So we went back home, and she was already living with me. And then we did the party on March 12th, the big party.
And now you don't have to give your half of the check anymore because you're
more.
married, right?
No,
But you were
kept it
living,
all.
But you guys were living with your parents right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Now, when did she get pregnant? When did you guys start moving out? Tell me that transition from there.
So she got pregnant right after, and
You don't waste no freaking time, man.
I'm taking action. I have a vision I implement. But yeah, she got pregnant, and we had her first little boy. I was there for, I don't know, like 4 or 5 years, and then I bought a house. I bought a house when I was 20. When I was 20, bought a house in Watts. And
20 years old, buying your house.
Yeah,
That's impressive.
We bought a house, and yeah, we bought a house from there.
And at this point, you're still working in the same place? Or are you working with a different company now? Where are you working now?
So I was working at the same place. I was working, it was called Cerrone Painting with this guy, Reynaldo. I was working there. And I was living on Gorman. It was called Gorman, like in Watts. And I have my other little kid.
You have 2 kids.
So we have 2 kids. It's Jonathan, and then Stacy.
Okay.
And then from there, I just kept moving up.
Now let's tell me how you start growing in this company. What did you start learning? What other positions did they start giving you? How did you start, getting raises? Tell me that process now.
So basically, I was being competitive. So in this company, I went through a bunch of stuff. I started as a prepper, sander, painter. So basically, I went through all the roles in the company, and I was a manager very quickly. after like 8-9 months, I was managing like 4 or 5 guys already, and I was running basically all the projects.
So now you're like 17, 18 years old?
No, actually, when I was 15, I was already managing people.
You're already managing at 15.
I was 15 when I was married. I was already managing people.
They were all older than you.
Yeah, I was 15, and they were 30, 35, 40.
So how was that? How would they even? Usually, older men are like, "Who are you? You're gonna tell me anything?"
I think they know. They know that if you know, they see how you work. They see if you know how to do the things, and as long as you're showing instead of saying, then they'll.
You didn't have any conflict with that, or somebody trying to challenge you, or like
at the beginning, yes.
Niño,
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, at the beginning, yes. They're like, I'm never gonna listen to you. You're a little kid, this and that. But maybe they did that to every single kid, But sometimes there's this guy that is always going to be competitive and is always going to learn more than them. And eventually, these people that were just throwing me under the bus and bringing me down, they started asking me how to do things. Because these people that just go for the day, they don't go for to learn the skill.
Yeah.
But I was the opposite. I used to get 10, 15-minute breaks and then go back to work and learn and continue learning. And then I used to take the harder route. Like there's different skills and different types of things that you do at the painting. And I used to take the hardest one. Like,
give me an example of what normally people would go to because like, oh, this shit's cake. I'm gonna go for the easier versus, well, no, I'm gonna do the harder thing. Give me an example.
Yeah. So basically, a lot of people, they like to like roll, just roll, brush and roll, or mask and things like that. And I used to take the harder route, like do the cut-ins, do the mixing the colors, doing the decorations like full finishes, Venetian plasters, cabinet refinishing. I was learning that side versus just sticking to something easy.
And this is all intentional? Like this
all
was a part of
intentional.
your strategy to like, were you thinking, okay, I'm gonna grow fast. I'm gonna, manage these people. Like, how was your thinking there? Because it's not like normal. Right. Not everybody thinks that way because here you are, you're coming at a young age. You got a little bit bullied that put some good pressure on you to where you're like, well, I don't like not having money, so I'm gonna go freaking make money, right? So you drop out, took a risk, start to go, make your own money, start giving, money to your family. Boom, you go to this party, lock eyes, give a little eyebrow, boom, get your wife now. Right away, go get married, right away, have your first kid. So things are fast. So you're somebody who doesn't think too much, not in a bad way, but you take action. But you also have strategy. There's strategy here somewhere because you're not just living by emotion. You're making good strategic moves where you're growing. So I want to understand your thinking because especially for the audience, because you're moving fast here.
Yeah.
And you're competitive, right? But how are you processing these things? How are you thinking? How are you seeing further than where you're at to be like, okay, I'm going to get there, but in order to get there, I need to do these things. Like, let me know how you're thinking here.
The way I think is that I know I could do better than anyone in my own thinking. Like if I see that person, I'm like, I could do better than you. I first look at the person.
That comes up right away.
Right away, yeah. And like I saw this guy running the company like Reynaldo. And then I just saw how he thought, how he was thinking, he was moving, how he run his business. I was just thinking about it even without starting a business. And every position, I see how they work. I see how much time they were losing time. I could see like many things. I could see them work in slow motion. Like I could do this faster. I could do this just by looking at them. Even though I didn't know the skill set yet, but I knew I could do better than everybody in the company. It was just a matter of time of me putting in the work and getting things done because it was not going to happen overnight. So that's the way I think. Usually when I see something, especially when I was 15, I'm like, okay, I could do better than everyone else.
What was your personality like? Is it the same how you are now?
Yeah.
So because how I know you, you're not somebody who is cocky or somebody who is arrogant.
Yeah.
You have a confidence, you want to dominate, but you don't come off as like, I know more than you, but you're telling me right now that something comes up in you is I can do better than you.
Yeah.
So how does that come out? Does it come out?
No, it doesn't come out like that. So basically, I know that if I study someone, I could do better than them, even though like they don't know that, I don't show it.
Okay.
But I'm always humble.
Okay.
And I'm always like, if they tell me something, okay, that's fine. I listen, even though if it's not if it's not the right way of doing it, that's fine. I mean, everybody has their own way. But I always like find the feel. And my feel when I was working there, it was all these people saying that I was never going to learn more than them. But eventually, in a couple months, I was already like,
That's that
way more.
competitiveness. So people, that bullying again.
Yeah, that bullying, like that feel, like bullying.
Keep
yeah.
you down.
Yeah.
You're like, no, I can do better
I'm
than
gonna show you.
Watch.
I'm gonna show it on your face, even though I don't tell you. But I'm gonna show you that I could do better. And it's just that competitive, finding the feel, and then not only finding it, but like doing like a game plan around it, and studying people. I think because you asked how do you do it, I study people. I see what they do, and I know I could do better.
And ever since freaking 13, 14-year-old, you're already starting to do that.
Yeah.
All right. So now you're managing 4 or 5 people, and you're 15 years old, right? Is that correct?
Yeah.
The timeline. So now tell me from there. How did you start growing? What was your next move? How were you thinking there? Like, how did you grow from there?
So basically, that from 15 to like, I would say to like 18, 19, 20 years old, I was in the same position. I was doing everything at the company. It got boring because there was no more room to grow. It was just.
And you were still managing these five.
I was managing like 12 people.
Okay.
So I was helping the owner like manage the people. They used to do everything wrong. We didn't have a system because we didn't have a system. They were just doing everything backwards, and they're like, St. Jonathan, he'll fix it. So I used to go there and fix it, do double the work. It was always double the work. And I got tired because we were doing double the work every time. They used to send a apprentice, and they used to do like everything crooked, like.
And you had to go fix it.
Come back and fix it. Yeah. So I got tired, and then my boss, he was a good guy. He paid for the school for me to get the license. And he was a good guy, and when
he saw the value in you.
Yeah, I think.
He's like,
but he wasn't the guy that used to tell you like you're a good guy. He was the opposite. He was like
really hard on you.
Eres un morro cagado. You're never gonna learn. You gotta stick here because if you go out, it's hard out there. Look at me.
And that's the fuel that you freaking fed. That you.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. Yeah, but he was a good guy, but he used to say the opposite things. And then he paid for the school, but he used to say the total opposite. So I don't know, it's kind of weird to explain, but that's the kind of personality. And he gave me the thing, and I went to get the license right away. Like I passed the test.
What was the first license?
The same license that I have is a painting license.
It's a painting license.
Yeah.
And what was the process to get that? Because I don't know what it.
Well, it's actually really simple. If you think about it, it's really simple. Has nothing to do with business. It's just reading a book of the trade of the painting, and reading a book of the law, and you just go to the state license school or the board. You set up an appointment. You do the test. You pass it, and they give you a license. And this license, you're able to do work now in California as a painter. It's a C33 painting and contractors. It's the same thing as a General B license or a roofing license. But that's not the key of the business. That's just a license that anybody can get.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's what he gave me.
How long did it take you?
A couple months.
Okay, so now you're going to the school. Was that hard for you, the school part?
No, it was pretty simple. It was just 4 classes. It was 4 classes, and then set up an appointment. I did the license. I passed it, and then I was too young, so they didn't give me the license. They're like, you gotta wait another couple of years. I'm like, damn it. Okay. So I waited another couple of years for them
to take it again.
Yeah, because I was too young to get the license, and I didn't have the experience. Well, I did have the experience, but not in paper because everything was under the table. So I had to stay there for another couple of years.
So, okay, so now you're 15, 16, 17, 18? When did he invest?
I was 20, and then I waited another couple of years. I was about 22.
Now you're 22.
Yeah.
So now you're 22 with a license. What did this open up from here in the company?
Well, basically, I was already like, okay, I know how to do everything. I'm managing the whole thing. I thought that was a business. I had a license. And what triggered to quit that company, we were working in Sherman Oaks. It was really hot. Back in the days, it was 115. And we're like sanding and stuff. And we used to carry spatulas to apply the patching compounds. I had a spatula in my back pocket. And I don't know how, but I slid my arm, like right here. And I was bleeding, and I told his brother, who used to work for the company, to take me to the hospital. And then he's like, I'm not gonna take you. Put a tape on and keep working. I'm like, what do you mean, Jelly Bean? I'm like, I'm taking off. So I took off. I went straight to the ER, and I never came back. I went to the ER.
Because they were telling you like, because of that, why didn't you go back?
I didn't go back because I'm like, okay, I'm gonna start my own business. I always wanted to start my own business, but I'm like, okay, he's a good guy. I'm gonna stay with the company. But then that triggered me to like just take off and start my own thing.
Because you felt like he didn't care, or like why? Because they were taking care of you. They just invested in you. What made you like? Well, what the hell?
It was many reasons. He was always like not providing the right equipment, and not only that, but like the cut, and then also it was myself. It was not only them, but because it was a good company. I learned a bunch of things right there, but it was more about me. Like I wanted to do my own thing. And,
so it was already there.
Yeah, it was already there.
Thinking about it, you already were thinking like, oh, I can do this. I can do my own business, and then that was just the way out.
Yeah.
Like this happened, they didn't support it. They're like, well, I'm out.
You know when you're looking for an excuse to do something, and you're thinking about it, and you're procrastinating. You're like, oh, I'm gonna go out loud. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that, and then 2 years later, you're still there. So that's what I was going through, and then that cut. Like, oh, they're not appreciating me. They didn't want to take me. So I took that as an excuse.
Yeah.
But I was already thinking about doing it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what happened to your arm? Was it serious?
It was only 10 stitches.
So they had to stitch it up. Only 10.
Only 10.
Only 10.
Nothing major.
What was the recovery like?
It was not bad. It was like 3 to 4 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah. And
so now you're recovering. So tell me about this, because you're somebody who is competitive, who is very active, and now you can't do anything. You know, you're limited, right? So as far as work, I don't know how limited for other things that you're able to do, but what did you do during that time? How did you feel? What did that healing time do to you inside?
So at this time, I was just thinking on how to start my own company, how to get my clients, and I was doing a little bit of estimating here and there, nothing major.
This is during your healing?
Yeah, during my healing. And my boss, he's like, oh, I have a customer that I don't like. He doesn't pay this and that. He even told me like, and I'm like, okay, I'll take him. So I went out to do the estimate. I sold the project for like $40,000, but I was underbidding the project by far. It was supposed to be like, I don't know, $150,000 plus. Yeah. So I got this project and I got into like, okay, I'm going on my own, starting my own company. I bought a new truck. I hired some guys, and I went all in on this project for like 6 months. And that was the beginning.
That tells me a lot right there. You said I was way underbidding. 40,000 was supposed to be 150,000, and I did that for 6 months. Pause. So that didn't last.
Yeah.
Because didn't know the business part. You had the skill sets. You knew how to manage some people, but as far as building a business, you had no clue. And all of a sudden, you went all in, because that's what you do, right? You just go all in.
I don't think about it.
So you have the company car. You start to go get some estimates. Now tell me that, like, what's happening there? So you start to underbid. How does this collapse? What happens?
Yeah. So basically, we started this project. It was $40,000. It was supposed to be $150,000. And I hired some guys, some friends, and some people from Home Depot. And you know how it goes. You're super excited. You're working 16, 18 hours a day. Time flies. I was super excited that I was getting this huge project. I was just thinking about money, that I'm going to make more money. And then all of a sudden, money started going really quickly. In no time, material, the company truck that I bought. The guy only paid me $20,000, and he was holding the money, because there was other trades on the company. There was other trades on the house working, like electricians, plumbers, HVAC. They were making holes. There was change orders to be made that I wasn't getting paid.
And none of these things you were a part of before?
No.
So it's all new. So you're like,
was all new stuff.
What the heck is going on here?
I didn't know what to do, how to create an additional work order. And I started like losing money. And the guy said, if I didn't finish the house, I wasn't gonna get paid. So I finished the house, I painted the house, but I didn't do the additional work orders, the holes, the extra work that was done. So he didn't pay me. he didn't pay me, and I was already in debt on credit cards, and then I had the company truck,
And at this point,
and
you
I had paid the guys.
3 kids, 4 kids. What are you
I had 2 kids.
2 kids.
So I had the payment of the house. It was not much. It was like $800, but still. And then so I went bankrupt.
Was your
I
wife
failed.
working at this point?
She was working.
Okay,
Yeah.
so now you went bankrupt. You're not bringing in income, living off of what your wife is able to bring in at that point.
So at this time we had a little store, a very little store in Boyle Heights.
Okay.
And then she was doing that, but it was like a job because we
store
didn't
of
sell
what-
that
what-
much.
what
It was
kind of-
fajas. It was already fajas, yeah.
Nice.
It was back in 2012.
So you already had a business there going then. When did that start? When did you start?
We had a small little business, but it was not like per se a real business that is making money. It was like like a auto-employee business that you're working on the business, but it's more like a job because you're not making a lot of money.
And it was an actual location?
Yeah, it's a local store.
Okay, so I missed that part. So you were already a business owner even before this.
Yeah, but it was
this
more
point?
like it wasn't like a huge business. It was just a small little store. We were selling fajas there.
How the heck did you get into that?
It's another long story.
That's what you do on the weekends? You work.
You know,
Where the fajas come in?
Yeah, that's a long story as well. But just to keep it short, my wife, she started. We started from like selling Mary Kay, Amway, Amway, Herbalife,
Yep.
like all these things, like these products, like Swami and things like that. So
Yep.
we started selling all of this, and then she got into like the product of fajas. Back in the days when there was no fajas, it was an American brand called Ardis. It's no longer
Okay.
like Columbia Chamber took over, but that was back in the days, and she used to get training there, and then we got this little store.
Okay,
At
so
that
now
time.
you have that going on. You go bankrupt.
Yeah.
You have 2 kids, married. You failed. You're very competitive,
Yeah.
right? So that's like that's a gut punch. Like
Yeah.
you thought you've been winning. You took action. I thought I can do this. What was that like now? So now you're bankrupt. How are you feeling?
So I'm feeling very depressed, unmotivated, just laying down on my couch, drinking beers, eating chips, getting fat, ugly. But yeah, I was getting big. I was like 280, 300 pounds. I was big. I was just
And at
depressed.
this point, you weren't doing anything. You were just kind of just stuck in your failure.
Yeah, no, but before that, before I was doing that, and at the same time, I was looking for a job.
Uh-huh.
And I found a job on Craigslist, OfferUp, for demolition. So I started working as a demolition for like a month or so because I got injured again. So the story there was that,
So you're healed up here now. So now this is a different injury.
yeah, so that was after like 6 months.
Okay.
So when that happened, I was on the painting business.
Yes.
And then I started my own business, Jonathan's Quality Painting.
That was.
And
like
then I
6
did this
months?
Beverly Hills
That
for
went
like
down?
6 months.
Uh-huh.
And then I started looking for a job for like a week online. And I found this job of demolition. So I was a demolition man for a month. I bought a wheelbarrow, some sledgehammers, and I took tools that I had. So I started working as a demolition man. And again, the competitiveness. All the guys were new. I was new. It was a new company. Nobody knew what to do. I took lead. I was a manager there for a month until I got injured again. Yeah.
What kind of injury this time?
No, it was on my left arm. I have like